I I would first like to greet everyone and thank you for the opportunity of sharing knowledge and experience at this important conference to the field of career guidance and career education. My name is Marcelo Afonso Ribeiro. I'm a professor and researcher at the University of São Paulo, Brazil. I also coordinate a career guidance and counseling service, which assists an average of 1,500 clients a year, in which 4% are youngers at the age of 15, 20 years. About 50% of these people are unemployed, low qualified, and are vulnerable. We also provide consultants to public schools, mainly in secondary education, assisting development, implementation, assessment, and monitoring of career guidance programs and activities in schools. I humbly intend to present and discuss a career guidance program for young people in formal sector, suggesting that we go for diversified ways to promote decent work trajectories. To underpin our proposal for career guidance, we will briefly present the education and work context in Brazil to define possibilities and limits for this type of intervention for secondary schools. In educational terms, Brazil is defined by the low overall education attainment of the population, mainly due to a very late education expansion process. 53.6% have not complete secondary education, and 7.6 over 25 years old have complete higher education, which characterizes the labor force in Brazil as low-skilled. Thus, there's not always full coverage of education for youth in formal and institutionalized learning contexts, generate a relatively significant rate of young people not complete basic education, difficulty in getting into universities, and the absence of vocational training and support systems. Also, there is frequently a disconnect between education and training and labor markets. In work terms, the working contexts are marked by incipient formality with higher rates of informality, which configure a continuum from formal to informal. According to International Labour Organization, recent data on Brazilian economic active population show that 40% were employed, 40% work in unemployed and irregular jobs, 10% were unemployed, 10% work as entrepreneurs, and 15% has a college degree. Young people are more likely to be employed, 30.56%, working in an unregulated situation, 48%, and have low incomes. In the formal context, the informal working contexts are defined by higher insecurity, discontinuity, and lower levels on enforceable rights and social protection. Their main characteristics are ease of access, low level of capitalization, and technology generate low productivity. Use of the local resources based on family ownership, qualification, and skills acquired outside the official training system, and competitive and regulated markets. In that vein, the career development of most people is characterized by informal discontinuous trajectories and not restricted to have unemployment. Examples of working activities carried out informally are street vendors, independent workers, waste pickers, and rural intermittent work. And in career development support terms, career education and career guidance are generally limited. In general, opportunities and resources for career development in Brazil are lacking. Consequently, young people do not find career development support to deal with the socioeconomic and cultural conditions that lead them to build intermittent trajectories of low quality and low paid work, interspersing moments of formal worker with unemployment and informal worker with a low probability of upward mobility and social occupational stability. In some, Brazil is marked by incipient formality with high rates of informality in the working world, with gaps in formal education and limited access to career development support. Youth working trajectories imply stronger consideration of communitary sense, informality, gender, and ethnic minorities. In general, their work trajectories are not considered careers, and the work opportunities lay in the formal economy. Thus, career guidance for youth in this context represents a fundamental action to invest in people's capacity to reduce their entry in the formal economy, expand decent work opportunities in the formal labor market, and generate more autonomy and increase the sense of community as proposed by the human-centered approach to the future of work from ILO Centenary Declaration for the Future of Work. In that vein, career guidance in Brazil requests contextualized career education approaches and frameworks to address institutional limitations, cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds, and specific youth contexts. Accordingly, the career guidance in Brazil should range from more mainstream frameworks designed in developed countries based on a global framework on core skills for life and work to alternative models carried out in non-traditional space for career development, mainly by the existing communities, programs, and resources, rather than a combination before core skills and contextual specific skills. The former usually prepares young people for the formal labor market and formal lifelong learning, and the later assist in the quality and security of the work done, whether formal or informal, enable decent work achievement and a less intermittent trajectory based on projects and choices. Contextualized approaches depart from existing programs, not necessarily career guidance or career education, include community existing resources, diversified funding, and governance arrangement for active solutions, tackle the diversity of youth contexts and strategies, be open to diversify resource mobilization, and develop core and local skills for work and the main actions to guarantee an effective guidance for youngers in informal work in Brazil. So the main goal of youth service should be increase autonomy and the quality of work without imposing a formula, but respecting each young person with the values, resources, and possibilities of their context. In that sense, career guidance is a significant support to face the old problem of guarantee the universal right to decent work and the new challenge of promote decent work in contexts marked by informality. In sum, sociocultural diversity only becomes a real issue when universalizing strategies are proposed for everyone. So this presentation discussed the possibilities and limits of a career guidance programs toward diversified ways to promote decent work trajectories. To whom is the program addressed? The target audience consists of young people aged 18-20, working unregulated jobs in the formal sector who are attending secondary school and do not have career development support in their respective schools. What are the main goals of the career guidance program? It aims to help people understand the place they occupy in the power structure in which they find themselves and to become aware of these structures and seek possibilities to transcend them, fostering narrative changes and social repositioning through expand dialogue, negotiate meaning, and integrate differences. Who are those responsible for the programs? Is developed and implemented through a partnership among the Career Guidance and Counseling Service for the University of São Paulo, Brazil, public secondary schools, and community resources. Who carry out career guidance? It's conducted by postgraduate students from our service and supervised by the staff team composed of career guidance specialists. Who are the practicalities of the career guidance intervention? It's usually conducted through small groups, using existing projects and space in the neighborhood associations, community groups, and NGOs in 12-hour, 1-hour meetings with a proposed follow-up meeting 4 months later. These meetings will be divided in 3 stages. First, a focus on psychosocial issues and life project construction. Second, an intermediary moment of transition. And finally, action plan construction. The main tools are dialogues between practitioners and students or group of students, project construction, and communitarian debates with people close to the students and live the same kind of context to be the way for expanding dialogue, negotiate meanings, avoid idealized projects, and integrate differences. What's the core theoretical framework? This program articulates epistemologies from the North with theories contextualized in the South. It's guided on 5 theoretical bases: relation ontology, intercultural dialogue, narratability, hybridity, and the student as the subject of discourses. Relation ontology means that knowledge is produced by relationships between different people from distinct cultural and socioeconomical backgrounds in the everyday life. Intercultural dialogue demands and assumes both mutual recognition of different cultures and each cultural space and readiness for dialogue to process of co-construction. Narratability refers to each person's ability to construct a biography of narrate his life story that's meaningful for him, herself, and the others. Hybridism refers to the logic of that allows in the first place to question the existing hierarchy and build new places. Positions and possibilities depend on the context in which it takes place. The informal workers, for example, show themselves socially first as a relation emergent, different from usual, as anomalous, out of order. Later, they become trivialized as a hybrid, integrating the order of things. And the student as the subject of the discourses means the assumption of the student as a rights holder and a subject of choices. What's the core technical framework? We propose seven technical principles as the basis for our career guidance programs. First, the practitioner should act as an intermediary. Instead of only assisting in an individual career construction process, he should foster the communitarian networks to explore the existing and potential career construction opportunities in the student context to build knowledge on the relationship of the social actors involved in the given context. This is necessary because the practitioner is not part of the student's world, and the students needs to make use of the resources of their home community to co-constructing meaningful work-life projects. Paraphrasing Paulo Freire, important Brazilian educator, we can say that this process must be forged with others, not for orders. Secondly, counseling should focus on process, rather than on a predefined plan. Third, career guidance should be understood as a successive process of co-construction. Or the practitioner should use a diatopical hermeneutics. It refers to the process of interpretation, hermeneutics, carried out between persons or groups in different and equal social cultural positions. The two and topoi, positions of knowledge production places. 50, a discourse validation should be provided. Discourse validation should be understood as a strategy through which the practitioner tries to validate clients' personal knowledge about themselves, about their context, to help them to develop a career project and make career decisions. Discourse validations leaves theoretical room for changes to be possible on both personal and social levels, allowing people to make links between personal standards they are taking and the wider politics of making their social worlds. Thus, discursive repositioning means building a critical consciousness and decompose a position in social meta-narratives for repositioning within them. This is a deconstructive process that fosters the emergence of new possibilities. From this perspective, the purpose of career guidance and career education is always political, since it's always about taking a stance with a contest for privileged status of particular meaning. 60, the practitioner should use a communitarian strategy. Career guidance works use such community-based action to help the persons in social community vulnerability to achieve education and labor goals, sharing support and acting as an intermediary for the relationships between them and the community actors and institutions. And finally, a critical consciousness should be improved. Critical consciousness allows people to first experience and understand the social relations are always political, represent unequal distributions of power and culture, produced in between. Second, they can realize the place they occupied in the power relations. Finally, they try to find possible alternatives to change his/her situation through construction career projects. We also propose three main attitudes in conducting career guidance and counseling process. First, we act based on situated knowledge, intercultural views and actions. Second, interviews should be extended to the social, since our proposal considers that psychological or psychosocial changes are insufficient in making career construction possible, and changes in the socioeconomic and work concept are required. And third, we hold a logic of construction through diatopical hermeneutics to foster intercultural dialogue and hybrid outcomes. As a result of our intervention, the program aimed at embracing critical concepts, actively engage in developing resources to cope with life construction, identify social supports and possibilities for community engagement, assessing programmatic resources, public and private, seeking help and support in organizing social movements, assessing the experience of their community of origin, and undertake actions and changes to make their work decent. Although it was designed in Latin American, the proposed framework for career guidance and career education suggests a way to build knowledge, does not posit the very concepts, what may allow it to be possibly applied to any context in which decontextualized practices have been taking place, since it inspires and supports contextualized practices, find best ways for all, not only the privileged sectors of our societies, to hybrid ways of constructing careers, address barriers and concerns through intercultural dialogues, and benefit families and communities, as it aims to include all. In this sense, career guidance and career education are important supports in this process to address the old problem, guarantee the universal right to decent work with social protection, and the new challenge of promoting decent work in contexts marked by informality without eliminating it. I close my speech with a picture of a university in Brazil, and thank you very much for the opportunity and an open space for questions, comments, doubts, criticisms, suggestions, sharing their own experience, and so on. Thank you very much.